This video is sponsored by His Vessel Academy. I want to talk about this math interactive from PHET. It is one of the best ones for modeling multiplication that I have seen. The nice part about it is students actually learn why they need to learn multiplication and where its application really is. So let's go ahead and get started and let me show you what I mean. So the first thing you'll notice is you'll have Explore, Generic, and Game. The game is going to be a good thing for your children to do on their own, but the Explore and Generic is going to be a great thing for you to do with them. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start. I'm going to push these up so we can kind of see, first of all, when your child's learning multiplication, they see a table, and a lot of times, they have the 1 and then they'll have the 2, and they really don't understand that they're looking at a multiplication table that is showing them area. And this actually allows them to see, hey, wait a minute, I'm actually creating area. So notice if I have a room that is 11 by 7, I know that if it's 11 feet by 7 feet, I have a room that is 77 square feet. This is really nice for them to see the application of where math is important in the real world. In this case is really good. Now these things are really cool because they can actually split it in two. So if they're not really sure, that kind of gives them a little more explanation that 5 plus 6 gives you 11, 3 plus 4 gives you 7, and therefore now we have an area that's divided into 4 parts, but now we have a 7 times 11 area. And it's really cool how that works. As I said, as they push it around, whether they use this or not is really cool. You've got this little thing where it'll actually divide it into tens. So this will be like this whole thing is 10. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 tens. So this is 100. This is a 100 block, by the way. And if I dump it down, you'll see how that's actually adding more to it. So I don't have to have that in there, but it is really kind of cool how that does. It does take away that 100 block. So if your child's struggling with that as well. So let's take a look at what else this thing does, because it's kind of cool. There's a lot of different things you can look at. You can kind of just do these. They'll have it in the middle there, or you don't have to have it in the middle at all. It can show you your calculations down here, that type thing. You can have it anywhere you want, or you don't have to have it at all. So just learn to play with it. It's really a lot of fun. Now, the generic is telling you that you can put in the sizes. As opposed to moving things around, it's allowing you to put in things. So say you want a 5 by 7 room. Let's just start with that. And we have this giving you a block. And that's what that is. And the total area is kind of hidden. So that kind of gives them a little bit of a chance to find out the answer on their own. And on this case, then say you tell your child, well, what if you want to add 3? Say I want to add 3 feet to my room. You'll notice it didn't go down 3 feet. It just went over 3 feet. So now I have 10. I took 7 plus 3. I ended up with 10 feet. I only added it to one side. Well, what if I wanted it 3 feet on both sides? So let's take a look at what happens there. Well, now I went from 35 to 80. I didn't double it or triple the size. So you need to make sure they realize the area is not moving in a triple form when you're adding 3 to both sides. It's just going 10. You're just adding 7 plus 3 is 10, and 5 plus 3 is 8. So now we end up with a size that's 80. And again, you can still see, you can still put your little numbers in there. You can put the timetables if you want to, anything like that. Or you can put your calculations. And this is really nice because you can kind of see you're using distributive property for this. You're taking a 5 plus 3 and a 7 plus 3, and you're multiplying them together. So this kind of helps them see the math in action. And you can come up here, by the way, and you can change it to any type of thing. If you want to just do it this way, you could do it this way for them. There's a lot of different settings up here that are really cool. The game will give you some ideas if your child's missing one of the games consistently when you're noticing it. Then you want to have them practice in here a little bit. So let's jump to that game. You'll notice it has choose your level. Please, 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 no matter what interactive you use and no matter what level they're on, always start with the first level, just so that way they get some practice. It gives them a little more confidence when they're doing this. So let's start with this. Now I notice that I have 8, I have 69, And I noticed that it's using distributive property to actually solve this. So this is kind of cool. So I go 8 times 6 is 48. And then I have this extra 0. I'm going to add it in. Then I'm going to go 8 times 9 is 72. Now, in order for me to find the whole, I'm going to have to add those two numbers together. So I'm going to notice that, well, my 2 is fine. 8 plus 7 is 15. So I'm going to carry the 1. So I'm going to end up with a 5, and then a 2. They could write it down if they needed to on a piece of paper. They don't have to do this in their head. And they may be better off doing it on paper, but if they can do it in their head, encourage it. So we have this 5, 5, 2, and we're going to hit check, and look, it's happy with me. That's always a good thing to see that guy smiling. And then we're going to do it again, and all of a sudden you'll notice that I'm missing a number. Like, it gives me the number over here. I'm just missing a number. So I want to say, okay, well, how would I find that number? Well, just like we did before, 7 times 3 was 21. And so we would do 21, but we do have the extra 0, so we do want to make sure that's in there. And when we add all three of these together, we should get 33,975. And hey, we did. Good job. And now you'll notice that the middle one is missing. So it gets a little bit harder as it goes. And it's a really great challenge product. So we have 10 times 4, so hopefully they know that's 40. We can enter that, and we hit, yay, we did a good job. And you'll notice here, again, it's now 2-digit numbers, so we've gotten a little bit harder. And it gradually gets harder, so don't freak out. That's what it's supposed to do, because they're supposed to know a little bit about it. But this always helps after the exploring, because you can go, well, add those, right? 700 and 400, you should know, is 1100, and you have a 90 and a 40, which is going to now make it at 1200, because we're now going to go over. But we can start with the 8, so we'll start with the 8. 8. So we know the 8 is going to go first. Then we have 4 plus 2, which is 6, plus 9 is 15. So now we have an 8 and a 5. We carry the 1. And then we have a 7 plus 4, which is 11 and 12. So let's see if we can remember what our numbers are. So we have a 12. And we said here a minute ago that was a 5. And that's an 8. So hopefully we got this right. We're going to hit check. Yes, we did. We can keep going. And honestly, you'll keep going until it's done, which is really nice on the students. And this one's actually not too bad, but it gives a little variety so they can kind of add and subtract, multiply, and that kind of, or just add and multiply. So we have this 800, and we have these other numbers. So we have a 5, then we're going to have a 7, and then we're going to have, let's see, 12. So 1, 2, 5, or sorry, 7, 5. I did that backwards. So be careful of that. And hit check, and yay, it's happy with me. And we're going to do it one more time. And this last one is just 9 times 3, which you should know. Okay, that's not too bad, right? 27. And we can hit check, and hey, it's happy with me. And therefore, now I have a challenge of 6 out of 6. I can hit next. It's going to give me an excellent, look, I have all these little things that are flying down. Your child will love you. And you can continue. And look at that, you now have a completed round. And as you go through it, if you get all the way up to the top level, you'll notice it's very, very similar to the first level. And in this case, and I want to make sure you realize it's now we're having to do a little bit more upper level math. We're going to do 3,600 divided by 60. So we're going to be looking at 36, or 6 times what number gives me 36. 36 divided by 6 gives me what number? We're going to end up with a 6. We have a 0 already. We're now looking for a second 0. So we're going to have 60. There's in the 10 place too. That may help a little bit. And now we're going to go in the single digit place. We have the 0, so we're good. So we now have 6 goes into 12 how many times? 2. So we're trying to get your child to realize that these numbers are big, but they're not as scary as they look. So again, we have this 48. 6 goes into 48 8 times. Okay, so that's the reason why we have 8. Or we could have looked at 16 divided by 2 is 8. And that's another way they could have answered the same question. It's really cool. So we have this check. And so, yay, great, we can go next. And I want to point out one other thing. I'm going to do it really fast because we know that that's going to be 90. Okay, so we're good there. And we know that this one is going to be, I don't know, 4? No, 2. Oops. I'm going to hit 25. Sorry. And then I'm not going to hit a number that's wrong. So we're going to hit 2. Because we know it's 4, but we're going to hit 2. And we're going to hit check. And it says, oh, it's sad. And it says try again. But it did take away a star. And if I do get it right, it's going to tell me which one I got wrong. That's always helpful. You notice it's red. So this is the one I need to change. I need to make it a 4. I'm going to hit check. It's happy with me, but it only gives me half a star. So I have to work twice as hard. So hopefully you enjoy this game and you give it a thumbs up and you just enjoy it, and subscribe to my channel so you can see more of these wonderful interactive videos. At His Vessel Academy, we offer live interactive classes as well as some self-paced courses. Visit phet.colorado.edu for more information and register today.